What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of No Chill with Gilbert Arenas. We are back out here in these luxurious Hollywood hills. We really splurged on this budget. I'm your co-host, Josiah Johnson, joining you again, and we got a living legend in the building. Entering 17th NBA season, 11-time All-Star, 10-time All-NBA, 9-time All-Defense. You got 2 gold medals, and in your spare time, you moonlight as a commercial actor. Get them State Farm residual checks cracking. Mr. CP3 himself, Chris Paul's in the building. What's going on with you, bro?
Nothing much, man. Appreciate y'all having me.
Most definitely now.
Dang, the 9-time defense.
That's lockups.
Defense.
That's Akon. I'm locked up.
Yeah, I had to.
But gotta ask you first. Obviously, I see the bandage on the left wrist. Know you had surgery recently. You know, just tell me a little bit about when the injury happened. And are you gonna be good to go for this season?
I'll be ready for the season. Got a little banged up in the playoffs.
For sure.
Yeah, a little banged up in the playoffs.
Okay, yeah.
Got undercut, landed on my wrist.
And you actually played. That was what, Game 5 of the Western Conference Finals. Played in the finals. Like, was nothing gonna stop you from playing in your first NBA Finals?
No, you can't. I mean, it's well documented. I had plenty of injuries in my past, and if there was a way that I could play, I was gonna play.
Tore it off?
What?
Yeah.
You know that shot. You know that good shot.
Bron was young Bron coming in as a freight train, and I tried to brace and bop.
Yeah,
like,
that total was amazing.
Like,
man.
I was like, I can't shoot. It's like, nah, we got something for that.
Oh, they got something for it. There
we go. All right.
Now we're gonna hit all that stuff later on in the interview. But first, gotta ask you. Obviously, before we started, you mentioned that you sent nearly a dozen players from your team CP3 AAU program into the league. So I just gotta ask you, what's it like coaching kids that you now got to go up against?
It's kind of the weirdest feeling ever. Initially, our first player from our AAU program that ever got drafted was Reggie Bullock, right? And I almost get emotional talking about Reggie because he done had a crazy story, a crazy ride with injury and losing family members or whatnot. And to see him, he signed another deal this summer. I'm so happy and proud of him. And Reggie was the first. We got Kobe White, Harry Giles. I don't want to miss nobody. Wendell Carter, I could run off a number of guys. But I had to guard Josh Okogie, who's one of our players. It's crazy when you're in the locker room and coach say your matchup is such and such. Like Grant Williams is another guy that played in our program who gets switched on me in games and be out there talking shit. Yeah.
And are you guys calling you coach? What do they?
It is weird sometimes when they call you coach. Initially they did, and I made them chill out on that. But our AAU program it's a family. Yeah. Like, it's a real family. And it's not just the guys that make it to the NBA. It's all the guys. Once you become part of our program, you family, and it's the dopest thing ever to get to share the league with them.
What's the key? What's the key of you got everyone who tries to start up at AAU, but what's the real key of being successful and keep getting kids that believe in you?
That's real, because that's probably the toughest thing. It's because everybody always bash AAU. It's not this, it's not that. They just trying to take people's money or whatnot. But I'm glad that I'm in a position that any of the kids that come through our program, I don't want anything from them. I don't want nothing from them. I just want to try to teach them and hope they get to where we are. And I think it's everybody that's around. You know what I mean? When I say that, my mama, she do the flights, the hotels, all that. My dad's involved, my brother's involved, my whole family, and our coaches. You know what I mean? My boy John, coaches, all the guys that make our program go around. Like, my first AAU coach still coaches in the program. You know what I mean? And they really dedicated to it, and it's really about the kids. And you say something bad about our program, we don't have an issue.
So it's like a family environment.
And we don't want anything from the kids except for them to hopefully get a chance to live the dream that I get a chance to live, right?
Yeah. That's real. So you're going into your 17th season now. You're an elder statesman in the league. But let's take it back 2005, coming in as a rookie. Who were some of the vets that took you under their wing? Really?
Why are you looking at me, bro?
We're gonna get to that too. Don't worry about it. We're gonna get to that too. But who were some of the vets that you played with, maybe played against, that really helped you understand what it meant to be a pro?
A few of the guys that I played with who was my first real vet was Speedy Claxton.
Okay.
Speedo, man, I used to be with him all day, every day. Because Gil will tell you, when you get to the league, you like, this shit kind of stupid. Because you lonely.
Yep.
You by yourself all the time. You know what I mean? I just went from college where we eat together, you go to study hall together, you do all this stuff together, you get to the league, and they say practice over, everybody, pew, 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 everybody gone. You know, so Speedy Claxton and J.R. Smith.
Right.
I picked up JR every single day for practice, my rookie year, because JR ain't have his license. Yeah, Jay, I lived in a cul-de-sac in Oklahoma, right? I lived on this side, and I was paying like $750 a month for rent. It was just me and my brother. And then if you drive all the way around the cul-de-sac, JR lived over here. So his dad, Big Earl, used to keep his Denali parked at the airport, so JR couldn't drive. And so I had to pick up JR every day. Every day. That's how me and Jay got so close.
This was people don't understand. Like people don't understand that.
Yeah.
Some of these kids, they come into the league so early that they don't have the license.
Right.
Right.
He had his license, but he ain't got that thing.
Like you got to take it because you speed. Like you don't really have. You can't club.
Right.
Right. You can't club yet.
Right.
Like. Even if they know you, it's still one of those things
listen,
you gotta
get the X on the hand when you go to the joint.
So it becomes a very lonely place.
Yeah.
Like because it's adults. So if you don't have anybody, like the adults that's married ain't hanging with the 18, 19-year-old. So what ends up happening is like your growth gets stunted mentally. Yeah. It's like this thing that no one ever talks about. Like you get into your 21s, 22s, you got to remember, those guys 26, 27, 28, you 22, you ain't built a relationship really with them.
Right.
So you go backwards, hang with the 18, 19, you're like, it's one of those things where until you just like meet a girl that can really just fast forward you back to your real age.
You know what's crazy is so when I got drafted to New Orleans in 2005, remember Katrina hit like a month after.
Yep.
But right after I got drafted, my family was going on a cruise. JR went on a cruise with me and my family.
Wow.
Right? My family already had this cruise planned out. Like not my immediate family, aunts, uncles, cousins, we was going on this big cruise. So then JR came on the cruise with us. Me, my brother, and JR stayed in the smallest room you could stay in on a cruise ship, right? And JR, like, some people say, oh, that's my brother, but that's my real brother. You know what I mean? Like, I love JR to death. And we was in New Orleans, and I remember we went to a club. Me, JR, and my brother, and we had JR's little brother, Chris, with us too. JR dad came and got us out the club. You know what I mean? I'll never forget that, because he was like, y'all need to be home, y'all ain't old enough. But my brother was old enough. My brother was like, I'm leaving the club, and I'm old enough. But it's different. It's different when you're young.
Y'all international waters though, right? You got to be 18.
No. That was in New Orleans when he took us out the club.
Okay.
But on the boat, all you had to do was be 18 to gamble.
So he showed up to the club to come grab y'all. How would he find out y'all were there?
Big Earl? I don't know how he knew.
This back in the day, it's like pre-social.
He came and got us though. He got us up out of there.
Yeah, that used to be our thing with like me, JR, Jason Richardson, Troy, because we wasn't 21 yet, and they trying to hang with the big boys, and I'm like, first of all, I ain't even got no money to buy none of that stuff in there. Like, so we got a pre-drink.
Yeah, that happened to me in Oklahoma when I was 20. I went out. We had played the Spurs, and Tony Parker had stayed after the game, and I went to eat with Tony, and we went upstairs to this club literally for like 2 minutes. And when we came downstairs, like police blocked my Escalade in, my brother and all us, and they was like, we know how old you are. You better not be going none of these clubs. Hey, listen, boss, you won't see me again. That's out.
You already know. So just looking back in your early career, early stages, who was a guy that you went up against that really kind of introed you to the league?
Gil. Okay. It's Gil. Like anybody that know my story, it's funny. I was excited about coming over here to talk today because a lot of people don't know like the relationship that like me and Gil had. Like Gil will put it on the gram sometimes and talk about it, but a lot of people don't know like how much he impacted me, right? So he Don, right? You heard that name before? You didn't have. He don't know Edon.
He's West Coast, so this was.
Oh, okay. So listen.
I'm sorry.
So it was a trainer called, or is a trainer called Edon Ravine.
Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm. And Edon was amazing. I mean, me early in my career, I'm not probably that player without Edon and the way he pushed me.
Yeah.
So I declared for the draft, and then I moved to DC. Stayed in Alexandria, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed right over Key Bridge, right, for like a month, getting ready for the draft. I worked out with Edon every day. Tell them about Edon workouts. They're not a game.
Not a game. No, it isn't.
They no joke, them workouts. And I was working out by myself every day at Christian school, 2 hours on the court, by myself, killing me. And I'd be doing drills, and he'd set up these cones, and like I have to go between the legs cross. And he'd time me. And every time I did it, it's almost like he'd be like, all right, Gilbert did it in 7 seconds. Gilbert did it in 7 seconds. You did it in such and such. I'm like, all right, well, let's keep going. I was doing that every single day. And then I was gonna work out for the Celtics. No, not the Celtics. I was working out for the Bucks, Milwaukee. I'll never forget, because I worked out for the Bucks because this is when TJ Ford was coming back from his injury. So Edon told me that Gilbert was gonna come work out with me.
Okay, yeah, I'm ready to get to this part.
Yeah, they said Gil was gonna come work out with me. And the crazy thing is how my mind thinks now. What month was it? It was sort of his off season.
Yeah, it was my.
It was his off season. It was his off season. Now that I know what it's like being a pro and learning when you start gearing up, but for me, it was Gilbert coming to work out with me. I've been going hard. And when you remember Edon used to have us doing dribble skip?
Yeah.
So we played one-on-one.
Yeah.
Right? We played half court. You get like 3 dribbles. Then we played from the other free throw line. And this is so crazy because remember, you used to always have to play an angle.
Yeah.
So think about that. From the other free throw line, you get 3 dribbles.
Okay.
That's hard, unless you know what you're doing. You got to go to the angle, dribble, skip, and all this. And I was killing Gil. I don't care what he said, but I was killing Gil this day.
That's what I mean. I saw a quote. You said I fried Gil in this workout.
Listen, that day
do you remember this, Gil? I need to know.
I was killing. We got to get Edon on the phone.
So listen. So I get the call and say, yo, I got a top 5 guard who wants to. He's been training hard. I want you to go up against him. So I already said, wait, hold on. Like, I've been working, but I ain't been, like, working enough to be going against any top 5 guards. Like,
But
so
Gil is known to just always be in the gym, too.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm in shape, but I'm not, like, that type of shape, right? So I'm like, he was like, nah, it's just going to be workout, just drills. Oh, cool, yeah. All right? Doing my little drills. Like, all right, cool. Then they hit me with, like, all right, one's after. You know... Like, once you already did, like, ones, because you know how you try to size somebody up while they, like, working out? Like, I got this. All right, I got it. Right? So, yeah, let's do the ones, right? Okay, listen. I've never said, like, if you ever heard me tell this story, I always said I whooped his ass. I was getting drugged. Okay. I was getting drugged, okay? Like, I'm not even gonna lie.
For me, I'll never forget it. Because he came and worked out with me. And then let me tell you 2 things. After the workout, I go over there and talk to the person from the Bucks, and they basically say that they picking Andrew Bogut, right? Because TJ was gonna be healthy, and I'm sitting there like, what the hell you come watch me work out for? You know what I mean? Like, what you do that for? And so now I'm juiced because all this stuff I've been working on with Edon, I was able to beat Gil, right? And this stuff, and that's a big deal for me.
For
like,
sure.
Gil is Gil.
Yeah, nah.
I'll tell you a quick story about how I paid it forward. I'm sitting at, what is it called? Ruth's Chris in, what is it, Woodland Hills?
Yeah.
Is it Ruth's Chris down there?
Yeah.
In Woodland Hills.
Yeah, I'm familiar with
it.
I've been there a few times.
I get a text from Edon, right? I don't know how many years ago. This might have been 5, 6 years ago. Depends on whatever. Josh Hart. How many years Josh Hart been in the league? Anybody know?
Ooh. He just got paid, so this will be going on to his 4th year?
Okay, so whenever it was, he was getting ready for the draft. I hadn't talked to Edon in a while, right? I'm sitting at dinner during the summer, off season, with my family, and I pick up my phone. We celebrating somebody's birthday. Might have been my son, anybody, and I look at it, and it's a long text from Edon that says, hey, what up, CP? I'm working out this kid, almost like the story you just said. Josh Hart, who's working hard, getting ready for the draft or whatnot. You remember years ago, Gilbert Arenas showed up and worked out with you. You know what I mean? We working out at 7 a.m., 8 a.m. at UCLA in the morning. I'd love it if you could show up, right? I'm at dinner, I got a glass of wine, I'm chilling, and all I can think to myself is how Gilbert showed up for me, right? So guess what? I had something to do that next morning. I texted Edon back and said, can we work out at 6? At 6 a.m.
Wow.
I went and worked out with Josh Hart, just like you did for me. You know what I'm saying? Like for real, for real.
Did you bust his ass?
Did I ever?
See, that's what I want to know.
Because I've always thought like that. Like, I don't need his story to be like my
You know
story.
the funny part is, if you would have gave me a lie detector test and said, did you beat the shit out of Chris Paul, I would have passed. Because after that workout, I told myself, you didn't lose. You didn't lose. So I told myself this whole time that I didn't lose because I was not letting the mother my confidence up. Because I was like, I got to guard him. Like, soon as he got, like, it was funny. As soon as he got drafted, I was like, okay, we got him 2 times. All right, I got to be ready for that because I know his confidence sky high.
Hey, listen, seriously,
Sky high. I know his confidence sky high.
Off of them workouts, you know what I mean? Off of them workouts, I'd never forget it, but I was excited to come here because I ain't never told you that about the Josh Hart thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sitting there with my whole family at dinner, and I could have just been like, nah, yeah, I'm chilling because this is my off season. This is my off season. But because you did that for me, I showed up at UCLA for him, you know what I mean, in the same way. And it's crazy, like, I mean, I got stories from when we tried out for the USA team, all this stuff with Gil. Like, anytime somebody talk basketball with me, like, Gil was the guy who, I ain't never seen nobody shoot the way he shoot. I ain't never seen nobody stay in the gym the way he do. Like, Gil was, he the guy that's gonna be at the club and then be like, all right, y'all, I'm about to go to the gym and shoot. But all defensive things that you ran off came because I had to guard Gil. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know the league now. What's the league now? The league now,
A bunch of guards trying to score.
No. If I played against you in today's game, would I have to guard you? No. Because every team got defenders. You know what I'm saying? This guy's a 3 and D, something like that. But when I came in, I had to guard Gil. I had to guard BD. I had to guard AI.
Yeah, you had to guard.
You couldn't duck nobody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You couldn't duck nobody, man. So, like, all defensive things came because I got my ass busted a few times for Gil. Because Gil would come down and clear out the whole side and start walking it down, not like he gonna back you down and turn around and shoot a 3. But he made you play defense. League now.
See, you know what? People don't understand the concept, and it's because these coaches are kind of still old school, and because they never played, they assume that a defensive player will stop an offensive player. And I've always looked at, okay, I'm going against CP, I'm going against AI, I'm going against these guys. My offense has to be my defense. I got to be able to get these guys in foul trouble, get these guys tired, because if not, they're going to just come at me the whole time. Right. So I got to come out the gates, like, unless it was a guard who didn't score, then I wasn't aggressive.
Right.
But if I'm playing against you, I'm sitting here trying to score 30. Because that was the only way I was going to neutralize someone who scores. So it's like, in today's game, it's like, the only way you can't put just a straight defensive player, because that offensive player is just going to rest. Like, I'm going to rest. If I got to guard you and you ain't shooting, I'm just going to be rested.
Right. But that's the nice thing of the game now. Like, if you a scorer, a lot of times you ain't got to guard.
Because they always got somebody that's dead weight on the team. I remember we played you guys in the playoffs, right?
When you was in Memphis?
When I was in Memphis. So it was like our whole game plan was you. The whole game plan was you. And it was, all right, Tony Allen, pick him up full court. Pick him up full court, get him tired. Conley, when he's on you, we're just gonna run off pick and rolls the whole time, at least 2-3 times before we dump it in to Mark in Zebo. So by the time fourth quarter comes, he's probably tired, and now he's just giving the ball up to a bunch of guys who can't create for themselves, right?
Yeah.
And that was like the game plan of trying to control, because it was like once he gets in control, it's kind of hard to contain it. You know what I mean? So it's like get him tired and then run him off on defense. It was like,
you know, what's crazy is a lot of people don't know part of the reason why I ended up leaving LA, going to Houston. Everybody always said that, damn, he got to have the ball in his hands. He got to have the ball in his hands. And I'm like everybody else. I like to have the ball in my hands because I know what I'm going to do with it. But a big part of that, because I got tired of what you just said. You know what I mean? So my idea was like, I'm going to go down here and play with James and be able to get off the ball and stuff like that. That was hard. You know what I mean? Like, that was hard. Guarding, like we play Golden State or something like that in the playoffs. I'm chasing Steph. He don't stop moving. And then Clay guards me. You know what I mean? And that's why it's been, that's why I was really nice in OKC too. You know what I mean? To get off of it, to Shea and them other guys. And now playing with Book. You know what I mean? Book can create. And I'm a little older now, so for the most part, I don't have to chase around the guys. But it's funny that was y'all game plan, because that was one of the things that I was like, okay, I done did this for 12 years. I'm tired of chasing it.
chasing and then running the offense. Like, I remember when you was in over in Houston, right? And I said, the only way they make it out is if James actually understands his gift and your gift, right? And I said, as a coach, you have to have that hard talk, right? And the hard talk was this: James, up until the fourth quarter, last 5 minutes, it's your game. Last 5 minutes, the ball is in CP's hands. The reason is, in the last 5 minutes, he's averaging about 0.1 turnover a game. That's the person I want creating offense, because I know I'm going to get an amazing shot every single time. With you with the ball, even though you're the best scorer, you're going to take 3 bad shots, 3 heat shots. You're probably going to turn the ball over 2 times. You know what I mean? So it's like, I can't afford that in the last 5 minutes. And that's the most important time in the playoffs. So the offense has to switch, but you know, that's when the ego has to understand that I'm probably not the best person with the ball in my hands at this moment in time.
You gotta be able to have them conversations. And I think the thing that frustrated me the most is that obviously that first year I wasn't healthy. You know what I mean? I think it's crazy. Them years in Houston kind of a blur to a certain extent, because there was so much going on at the time, but damn, we was good. We was real good. And James, I still say, can't nobody score the ball like he can. It's crazy, man. Like I say, I love defense, so I would, in practice, be like, okay, let me get at this angle with him. Okay, damn, I'm shooting a layup. All right, damn, just fouled him. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't trade any experience or whatnot, but I wish we would have had some of those conversations. But most of all, I wish I would have been able to stay healthy.
And like I remember with Larry, like, because he was my vet in Oakland. Larry Hughes. Yeah, when he was my vet in Oakland, like, you know, I had to carry his bags, do all the little dirty work.
I didn't think about that.
And then I end up, you know, I didn't even take his position. They gave me his position. You know what I mean? they gave it to me. I didn't earn him up. They gave it to me, right? And then, like, the game just came. From watching it so much, working out, like, it just, when I got in, it just came. So by the time he came back, I was already player, you know, rookie of the month and all that stuff. So it was hard to put him back into that rotation. And we used to have that conversation. Like, it was one of those, like, yo, what's my strong suit? What's my weak, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like, well, you know, you're better at this point in time, you know, versus this time. Last 5 minutes, this is what you're good at, so focus on that. Like, creating for others, 5 minutes, that's not your thing.
Right.
Getting a bucket, the last 5 minutes, that's your thing. So if you're gonna get Antoine, me, Jason Richardson involved, do it earlier. Do it earlier, because if you're trying to do it later, you're gonna turn the ball over because you think you see something you don't, when your whole brain is looking at that rim. Yeah. So he had to teach me what I was actually good at. Because at first, I'm just trying to, be a player like, oh, he has 30. Let me try to get him open. Turnover, like,
right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
And he was like, no. Score.
Right. It's crazy because I think that's what's been good in Phoenix is that a lot of times I know I can get a shot whenever I want it, right? So I'm always trying to get everybody else involved. And, at some point, Book will be like, yo, score, go shoot it. You know what I'm saying? Go shoot it. Mikal Bridges, too, who don't say but so much, but he'll tell me that. And I think that's something that as long as I done played, it's still one of those things where you want to get a guy involved. That just has never been my natural instinct to go score it every time. You know what I mean? But I think, I don't know, it's give and take, with anything. Yeah. But that's been the cool thing about Book and our relationship is that we talk regardless, no matter what, good, bad, or indifferent. Sometimes I say something to him during the game he don't really want to hear, but the biggest thing I think I told him probably all season long was game on the line or whatever, and he hits game winners and stuff, but get to your spot. Get to your spot. You know what I'm saying? As long as you shoot the shot, getting to your spot. I think he shot a shot early in the season where it was like a long 2 for a game winner, like not a 3 and not a midi. You know what I mean? And I was like, if you get to your spot, you can close your eyes and shoot it.
So, you've won at every single level, which I think is one of the more impressive parts of your game that people don't really talk about. AAU National Championship in high school, led Wake Forest to their, first #1 ranking ever in school history. Everywhere in the league, every stop you've made. So what does it take? Obviously, some people on the media and the outside have been kind of critical of your leadership style, whatever. What does it take in your mind to be a winner?
Oh, man. I don't know. I think for me, my leadership or whatnot is not for everybody. It's hard, you know what I mean? Because I expect things a certain way. But the thing about it is I never ask you to do something I'm not willing to do myself. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's that. And I remember one of my coaches in Houston said to me, he said, one of the things you're going to have to work on is being able to deal with somebody that doesn't care as much as you care. That's the hardest thing. That's the hardest thing, because this game right here, like I watch everything. I watch every game. I study the game. Like I love it that much. You know what I mean? So.
See, that's the problem with just sports period, just life. Everybody wants to be a winner, right? But they don't want to deal with what it takes to be a winner, right? Everybody talks about Mamba mentality, but actually don't like it when it's in your face, right?
They ain't know him like that.
That's what I said. They talk about. They think like Mamba mentality is like, dude, like no, it's ruthless. It's like if I'm shooting 1,000 shots a day and you're shooting 200 shots a day, why the f- am I passing you the ball? My bad shots is better than your worst shot. So if you want my respect, you have to try to be on the same level. You watch film like I do. You come to practice early like I do. You leave late like I do. Like be there, like compete. You know, and I think like if you look at all the competitors, for some reason no one likes them, right? You know, like we see who Jimmy Butler is, right? This is the same bad locker room guy, right? The bad locker room, because he wants to win. He doesn't hard. Accept like, yo, hard. We just lost by 30, and he's like, yo, hey, what club y'all going to? Because he wants, like, that's not part of his style. Same thing with when Kobe got to the Lakers and they went young, and he's sitting there trying to like, yo, what is this? You don't like it because winners hold you accountable for your lack of enthusiasm. Like they just like I don't like what you're bringing. I don't like you're giving up, and I'm gonna hold you accountable. And if you're not mentally ready to be held accountable, of course you don't like it.
And it's hard. Like I remember I was young and I would hear stories about Gil, and then I would watch him. You know what I mean? Like watch him. Like Gil used to do the thing where you shoot 100 shots or 103. Like Gil was gonna let you know too that you're not working harder than him. You know what I mean? Like for real. Like I used to see that stuff and be like, damn, am I not working hard enough? You know what I mean? And that's what I think people don't realize is that you're wired differently. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you win, you know what I mean, you expect to win. Mm-hmm. Right? Like some people, I don't know, like it's the hard work until you just fall in love with it. Like waking up, training, you just, yeah, that's what I do. Everybody be like, what you do different? Mm-hmm. Nothing. I just sort of fell in love with the repetition, the boringness of it. You know what I mean? To go in the gym, you shoot about like 1,000 shots. Yeah, like people's arm will fall off shooting them shots. But he just did it on the regular like that, so it became normal.
So like think about someone who's sitting in the gym over and over, right? You rarely see your teammates, right? You rarely see your teammates, and you mentally always think you're alone, right? You're coming in. I'm sitting here doing, you're sitting here just putting yourself in situations that that might occur, stuff like that, and you're shooting thousands. You're there 4 or 5 times a day, depending on what you're doing, and you don't see nobody. You're alone, right? The fact that I'm in there 5 hours a day and I don't see no one, and then you tell me as a coach, hey, trust your teammates. How?
Yeah, for real shit.
Like, am I the selfish one, or are they the selfish ones for not putting in that damn work? Like, we supposed to be, like, this is supposed to be what we do, we love. Like, if I'm in here 5 times a day, like, yo, like, come on, let's do this. What are we here for? Because if we get on the court and we in the war. Like when Kobe was coming to town after I hit the 60, he was coming to town. I already told them, hey, we're not seeing Lakers is about to come in.
You talking about after you hit 60?
After
you got cut from what's his name? After you got cut from what's his name? When you got cut from USA?
No, when I hit, when I hit 60, then he was like, yo, when he came out and said, he did, he was shooting shots like this unconsciously, and then, I'm gonna make sure he don't do that next time. So it's war, right? So I'm training for him. I don't know who we playing in between. Yeah. I don't know who we play. I don't know who's in between. I just know the Mamba's coming and he's coming, right? So I'm training in practice, like it's going hard. After practice, and I'm not seeing anyone, right? So when the game started, I hope y'all don't expect to get this ball today. Like I really don't. This is a one-on-one thing that's about to happen, and you four just taking that ball out.
See, that's why also you couldn't talk that crazy to Gil like other guys. You know what I'm saying? Because I had a situation with a player in the league who was talking junk one time, and it was back when I played in New Orleans when I was younger, and I was like, all right, I'm at you now because I can shoot whenever I want to. You can't do that. You can't do that. I can shoot it whenever I want to.
Who was this player?
Don't even worry about all that.
That's you had. I gotta ask.
I can shoot whenever I want to. You can't do that. You know what I mean? You start doing that, they're gonna take you out the game. You know what I'm saying? So like Gil, after that USA team thing happened, right? In 06. Oh man. Gil, when he came out and said that he was gonna give every coach that coached us, you know what I'm talking about? And he was doing it. Yeah, for sure. He said, what'd you say about Coach K?
So if I was going back to college, I give him 70.
And he wasn't lying. He would have did it. He would have did it. Like I made sure I watched every time.
You know, it was more mental, right? It was more of a mental challenge.
I know, I'm sure.
It wasn't even about making it or not making it. It was that experience, right? So, in my situation, I make the team. It's USA. Like I never expected to ever be like growing up that like with the same thing Dream Team. What? Hell no. Right. So I'm already in geek mode. Like I'm in happy mode. I'm not in Terminator mode. Right. I'm in a whole different space. So I'm like, hey, I'm just happy to be here.
Right.
So the thing that I think I needed was that exact thing. You remember we was, I think it was in South Korea. Was it South Korea?
South Korea when we went to that base.
Exactly. Right?
Yep.
Hot as hell, right? Getting my dunk on, and I thought I pulled my groin. So I went to Colangelo and said, like, hey, man. I said, hey, man, I might have pulled my groin, and I don't know how serious it is, but I don't want to hold up a spot, for someone trying to make it.
Yeah,
right.
I didn't know this.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't want to hold up a spot for someone who's trying to make it, because I don't really know.
Right.
He hit me with the smooth. Nah, it's okay. Now you was on a bubble anyway.
He said that?
Like my mind, like you don't understand how fast my mind switched. It was just like bubble.
You had to click out.
Bubble. And motherfucker, there's only 3 two-time all-stars and all NBA players on this team right now, and I'm one of them. There's only 3 of us. We got Kirk Heinrich, we got Brad Miller, we got Shane Battier on this team, Bruce Bowen, and wait.
They did Bruce the dirtiest.
Yeah, so I'm sitting here like...
They did Bruce the dirtiest. They waited to cut Bruce. We flew.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? We flew from the States all the way over, and they cut Bruce like when we got there.
Yeah.
And I remember they was like, y'all couldn't have told him.
Yeah. No, I was so hot. We're flying back and all like the emotions just bubble. Like I'm on a bubble. Oh, when I get off.
And along the lines of what Gil's saying, like I'll never forget that year too, because that was after my rookie year, and that was 06. Mm-hmm. Like we tried out. Like now they like name finalists and all that stuff. Like, but 06 was the year that we tried out. Like it was like AAU team.
Yeah, it was war.
Roll the ball out, diving on the floor.
Yeah.
All that stuff, and I'll never forget it because it was an unbelievable time those years, 06, 08, and all that, because you get to the NBA, you like, man, I'm at the height of my career. I ain't never going to try out again. You know what I mean? And I never forget all this.
I remember I was asked, they was like, hey, you gonna start on a USA team? And I was like, that's it. The way my talent is, like, I said, no, I'm not. Like, the players we have, we need someone who actually is a point guard.
Right. And
I'm a hybrid.
I was a young dude.
Yeah, he was a young dude, so I'm more of a hybrid. I'm more that come in that just like I can't fit with them. Like I don't know like you know what I mean? You got like D Wade, you got Braun,
facilitate, Melo,
I'm like I can't do that. Niggas ain't gonna get the ball. That was me. Like it don't matter who's on the court. Yeah. I'm gonna do me. Like y'all just gotta fit. That's why I love that second unit.
But you know what's crazy?
Give me the ball.
You know what's so crazy is because I was so young and probably impressionable. It's probably stuff that I remember that Gil probably don't even remember. Like we was staying at the Wynn, right, hotel. Okay. We basically lived there.
Yeah.
You remember? And I remember we was about to go down to the blackjack tables, and I like hit Gil, be like, "Yo, we about to gamble. We about to do." You know what you used to be doing all day, every day?
What?
What you was in your room doing?
Playing video games?
Yes. Yes.
Head of the curve.
He'd be playing Call of Duty. He have his headphones on, up there talking, talking to random people, kids and all that. And I remember I told him we was about to gamble, and he was like, all right, see, I'll be down in a little bit. Gil ain't coming. Gil ain't coming. Gil ain't coming. And then me and my brother then was down there. And then you finally came real late, and just the most Gilbert thing ever. Gil saw us gambling. We've been sitting there playing for a while. You pulled the money out your pocket. Whatever he had, whatever cash he had, he put it on the table. It was like money play. Right? He was like money play. And then boom, he won. And then it was like, ooh, you came up. He said, play it again. You won again. And then he basically played it till he lost.
Yeah.
Like that's what he gonna do. He just played till he lost.
Keep going till I lose.
Till he lost.
Hey, that's funny. Yeah.
Are hilarious.
That's what I said. I wasn't. For some reason, because I always had a chip and always tried to fight. Because that was after the playoffs, I missed the free throws too.
Yeah, I was there. I came to watch some games.
So that's what I said. So I missed the free throws. So now I got the free throws mixed with getting cut. Yeah. Like what's the funniest? I didn't get cut yet.
Right.
I just used it. Right. So when I got back, it was like more. I seen what we got a name for it. The Avengers look like. Mm-hmm. Like I got to play against the Avengers. Mm-hmm. Like I know what they look like as a group.
That's crazy.
I think I can turn it up a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like because I was an Orlando fan, so I know what free throws do to a motherfucker. I was an Orlando fan growing up, so I know what free throws do to my. So I just meant free throws. So I trained the whole summer just on free throws, getting my mental. So when I came back, it was a whole nother thing. Got a little taste of the international. Got like you got to remember going against you guys. That's the best starting five that I'm ever gonna play against.
Yeah.
Right. So now I need to get ready for this season. Like, I need to get ready for the season. I got, it's one of those things trying to figure out how to mentally just get better and not get complacent.
It's crazy. It's crazy how, like, even hearing all this from you now, it gives me different perspective because when I was young, like, after my rookie year, I was, 20? Might have about to turn 21. And I'm just excited to be part of this, like, get the USA socks. I'm seeing these nice hotels for the first time. And all this stuff, man. It's crazy now to be able to go in my 17th year. I was just at the Wynn a couple weeks ago, and I was walking around, and I seen one of the dealers or something was like, "Hey, man, you still coming here, huh?" You know what I mean? I'm like, I ain't that old, boy.
Yeah.
But it's dope, and I'm grateful that I still get a chance to play and compete. Because now, shit, I'm at the point where my teammates is coaches, not my teammates, my former teammates is coaches,
yeah.
And I'm playing against
your AAU players.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So let's shift it a little bit. You opted out. You had opportunity free agency. There was rumors and reports circulating that you were getting big bags off from other squads. You decided to re-up with the Suns on a 4-year deal. What went into that process for you in that decision making to sign that 4-year extension?
Yeah, it was tricky. It was tricky, man. I've never sort of been in a situation where it was even thought, right? Like every contract that I done played under has been a max contract. You know what I mean? Ain't no negotiations. Ain't no what's staying. Yeah, I've been traded, whatnot, but the contract has always been what it was. And so, in talking to my brother, my agents, and my team, and even Phoenix about what they wanted to do, at first it was like, hold up. And so I always been one that had a chip on my shoulder. Just like Gil was talking about with him, like I might have it to a whole nother extent. So if you ever like give me sort of just the slightest treatment or you don't want me, cool. Cool. You know what I mean? I do something about that. And so we went in those negotiations, and I loved being in Phoenix this past year, right? And it being close to home was also ideal for me. But being reconnected with Monty, you know what I mean? James Jones, who was with the Union with me, and Devin, Mikhail, DeAndre Ayton, the young pieces that we got, it just felt good. It felt right. And so
when it comes down to, like, when people talk about just greats, right? They always talk about, they use championships.
Right.
Right? Like, you need to win a championship to be considered a great. If you don't win a championship, would you consider yourself the best point guard of all time?
Man, it's tough to ask me that, you know what I mean? Because I'm always going to be biased.
Because people don't really understand, like when it comes to basketball, they just see a championship. What is your actual gift that you actually bring to the table that makes you who you are?
You know what? Like, it's one of those things people are always going to analyze, say this or say that, but somebody who's won a championship, somebody hasn't won one, says that it's okay, they're going to be like, hell yeah, that ain't going to say that because you ain't won one. You know what I mean? It definitely drives me, right? It definitely drives me to win a championship. But I think what I bring is we're not going to settle for less, right? Like, I don't care what team I'm on, who you put me on the court with. As long as I'm on that court, I know we got a chance to win. I don't care what it is. I don't care what lineup you put over there, the big 3, the big 4, the big 5, or whatnot, because I always say that as long as there's 5 guys on the court and you can't put 8 out there, then we cool. Because it's strategy and it's still a game.
What's funny is I don't know if you've seen it when I had put my top 5 point guards of all time, and I had you in there, and everybody's like, CP, like, why would you put him in there? And I'm like, do y'all not watch basketball? Like, if you guys want to take winning, then take it like this. If this team won 20 games, and I add CP to that, and then they win 55 games, and then I take CP out, and they win 22 games, he was the difference. Now, if I dump him in every single building team, and they're all successful, like OKC was supposed to be done. Winners, right? James Harden, them winners, you left losers, right? Right? You go to the Suns. They was losers. Yeah, they had a great 8 games in the bubble, but it was a losing franchise, right? You go there, you go to the finals.
I think one of the big things is mindset too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say this in going to Phoenix. See, this is the thing too, like when you talk about basketball and thinking and really knowing this game, like I live it all day, every day, from AAU to high school, college, NBA, right? So I analyzed, see, some people just think about going to a team, right? When I thought about going to Phoenix, see, people didn't even know that was in my mind, right? To go to Phoenix. I knew Monty already. And regardless of how our relationship has been in the past or even that year when I played for him, I know his mindset. So I know he prepares, right? It's a preparation thing too. Like you want to know when you're in the last minute, 2 minutes of the game that coach can give you X's and O's. And not only the X's and O's, you got to make sure that coach has your team disciplined enough, right? That you got principles defensively. See, don't nobody know that year I played for Monty, that 1 year. My last year in New Orleans, right? It was me, D. West, Marco Bellinelli, Landry, Carl Landry, Emeka Okafor, Trevor Ariza. We didn't have a bunch of these big name guys. We started out 11-1. People don't know that. You know what I mean? And that was because everybody knew their role and we had our principles. So I knew me, you know, and how I operate, and especially at this point in my career, like, damn, Devin there, he nice. You know what I'm saying? I already know he a dog. He a dog. I know the energy he on because I done worked out with him. Okay, Willie there, Willie Green, that's my man. So off the court, right? Like if I'm gonna be by myself, I know him that he'll help keep my mental because that's a whole nother component to it. And so I was like, man, this could work. This could work. And then when it happened, and then the part that is building. It ain't always pretty. Me and DeAndre Ayton was getting into it like hell to start the season. You know what I mean? Because I'm hard on you, and I ain't no loser. You know what I mean? So
that's what I said. I was like, and that is championships. If you can go to every team
we still got to win it now. We got to get to it now.
But
But I know what you're saying.
Honestly, have you actually been on a championship contender team? Like, when you got there, was that team actually considered a championship contender? No.
Houston wasn't. I think Houston, we absolutely.
Your power forward was 6'6". like I like PJ. After the finals, I actually like him, but your team, everybody was under 6'7".
But my thing is, you'll find a way, and I think that's the hardest part for me because I always say this: show me somebody that's okay with losing, and I'll show you a loser. Like for real, I ain't never gonna be cool with losing.
Yeah.
Ever. I don't care if it's Boo-Ray, I don't care if it's Connect 4, whatever it is, like that's just the energy that I'm always on. And being in Phoenix and bringing in a guy like Jay Crowder, see, that's what a lot of people don't realize too. I said I never put myself out there like calling somebody to bring him to a team again after what happened with Dre Iguodala. I told you what happened with Dre Iguodala?
No, please.
So, and Dre, my man, we on the union stuff together. I just got traded to Houston, and I was out here in LA, and the Rockets, Daryl Morey, they hit me. They was like, hey, we doing a meeting with Andre Iguodala at the Montage, right? And so they was like, we think we got a chance for him to come to Houston from Golden State. They was like, will you come to the meeting with us? I was like, oh, I ain't never did that. I went and sat in this meeting, and they talking or whatever, and Dre talking about how, you know, Golden State ain't necessarily treating them right, and all this, and he gonna come, or he might possibly come. And then after that, a little later, you get the bloop, Andre Iguodala signs back with Golden State Warriors. I was like, oh, hell no, I ain't never doing that again. That's out. I ain't never putting myself out there like that again, because now I'm mad. Now I'm mad. Like, I was mad for real. I was like, man, I ain't never doing that again, right? So I never did it, right, until Jay Crowder. Once I said was going to Phoenix, and we was trying to figure out the other pieces of our team, and they said something about Jay Crowder. And I was like, damn, we need him. We could use him. And it's because people don't realize the value of a guy like Jay Crowder, the value of a guy like Trevor Ariza. Our team was so good that first year in Houston because of Trevor.
Yep.
People don't know that.
And you got rid of him, yep.
Because of Trevor. Obviously Tuck too, but Trevor Ariza was a huge part to why we was good. And Jay had a lot to do with why we was good this year, because he that guy that a guard whoever and say whatever got to be said. Yeah. I got into it with who was it? It wasn't like I got into him, but with Duncan Robinson. It like did something, and I threw the ball off of him or whatever. And who was it? Jimmy. I think Jimmy Butler might have got an offensive foul on me or something. And I just remember Jay was on the bench. And somebody said something, and I looked over, and it was Jay. I said, what? I said, what you say? What you on? You know what I'm saying? So he was giving me that energy. You know what I mean? And I respected it, because he was looking out for his teammate. So I was like, yeah, we can do this.
You know what's funny? It's like players who play, right? They think, they practice, they train, they play against. They know just by looking at how you play, like, oh, I can mesh with him. I can mesh with him. We need him. The player himself has better moves than the general manager can make, right? And it's weird how players that are done, they don't actually get that position.
Nah, it's real. And I say this, man, that's why JJ has done a great job. And I always say this, when I was younger and came into the league and I paid attention, and sometimes the GM's not communicating with the players. Now, at the end of the day, the player ain't got to be the one saying do this or do that, but you should ask. Yeah. You should ask, because what I learned, even in Houston, was that at times they try to say, oh, this guy makes this much, this guy makes this much. Oh, we can just substitute him in. Right?
No, you can't.
No, I'm serious, but that's the way sometimes they try to operate. They be like, oh, this guy shoots this percentage and his defense, oh, their games are similar, just plug him in. It ain't plug and play like that. It's not, because it's chemistry and it's accountability. And I say this all the time, man, Trev's my brother anyway, but the way that he could talk to me, the way that he could talk to James when we was in Houston, you couldn't put no value on that.
But that's why certain people, no matter where they go, they just win. They just know how to glue everything together.
Yeah, you figure it out, because somebody got to. You could have some of the coolest teams in the league where everybody just tight and, you know, man, getting their ass whooped every night. Is that cool?
Yeah, for real.
That's not
cool?
fun.
That's serious. They best friends, and they can go out there and get their ass whooped, and it's cool.
But if we close, I got to be able to be real with you and tell you what needs to be said about your game. You know what I mean? Instead of talking about you over here, and then you end up traded out the league. Nah, that ain't it.
That's one thing I learned early, but I learned it on accident, because I couldn't beat up or I couldn't fight none of my teammates, right? So whatever they said, I had to just listen to. But what I understood was this: no matter what you say about my game, if I look at it in the right way, it actually helps me improve my game. So if you yelling, no matter how loud the volume is, if you saying, oh, motherfucker, you ain't going left, you doing this, and they know what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I need to work on my left.
Right.
So now if I work on my left, I'm that much better of a player. Right. So most people just take it like, oh man, and they'll want to listen to what's actually gonna improve their game, because someone's actually nitpicking at it. Like, yo, you don't do this, you can't do that, you can't. Take that in.
Right.
fix it.
Right. Or listen
Better
to
player.
what I'm saying,
Yeah.
not how I'm saying it.
They listen to the value, not understanding that. Listen, emotions in the game. Like, don't listen to that. What is he trying to say? Get back on defense. My bad. I turned the ball over and then get back on defense.
My volume always up too. My volume always up. But when you talk about it like as a leader, and I think it is what it is, but everybody always talk about what you've done sort of negatively, what they see or whatnot, but they don't see the text messages after the game. You know what I mean? Where you building a guy up or where you letting them know, like later, man, like hell of a game, way to play, or you know what I'm saying? And that comes with it. Everybody ain't always gonna like how you do or how you operate, but that's cool.
So 2011, obviously Lakers make the trade. You think you're going to be a Laker. League comes in, nixes the deal. But thinking about, obviously, Kobe's birthday this week, getting the opportunity to play with Kobe in the Lakers, how successful do you think those squads would have been?
Man, it would have been fun. It would have been a lot of fun. Partly I know that just strictly off me and Kobe, you know what I mean, and our relationship. I remember 2008 Olympics when we was staying at the Wynn before we went. I remember waking up early in the morning, we'd be in the weight room, you know what I mean? I'm young too, and you gotta realize Kobe is Kobe, you know what I mean? But a lot of people don't know, we used to get into it all the time when we played against each other. Even when we played against each other in the playoffs, before that trade happened, because we played them in the playoffs that year, 2010, 2011. Me and Kobe got texts because we had the same mentality. You know what I mean? And I think I was probably most excited to play with Kobe at the time because people didn't realize Kobe could shoot the ball as well as he did, right? Like he could be a spot-up shooter, right? And I would have had an opportunity to break people down at times, and he's still gonna ISO you, murder you. But it's another dimension to his game that I don't think he ever really got a chance to show, is that he can catch and shoot. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's crazy. I'll tell that story at some point, too, about all the stuff that went into it. And it's actually unfortunate that two of the most important people in that story aren't with us no more, Kobe and David Stern. You know, that's the toughest part about it, where you be like, man, I want to tell this story. I'm going to tell this story one day, and then life happens, right? So.
What's so funny is, so my agent at the time, rest in peace, Dan Fagan.
Dan Fagan.
So when it got nicked, I'm like, Dan, what happened? So he was like, he said it was unfair, right? So
unfair for me to go to the Lakers?
Yeah, so he said it's unfair, and he said, so what was in the background of all that was Dwight Howard being traded for Bynum, right? So I gotta remember, I'm in Orlando. So like I'm already talking to Otis, and it was like, Dwight don't want to stay.
You was in Orlando?
I'm in Orlando. So remember, this is when the amnesty was coming.
Yes, I've been in all the CBA negotiations too.
So Orlando, so they're trying to figure out if they were gonna throw me in the deal and force Lakers, if you want Dwight, you're gonna have to take Gilbert's contract too. Right?
Oh, you was gonna come to the Lakers too?
Then I was probably gonna get amnestied.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
then, right.
Because I'll tell you one day what me and Kobe said on the phone when we was talking about that, because Dwight was for sure probably about to come with us too.
Yeah, so basically, after all y'all, the super team got together, y'all had too much money left over. That was the reason it got nicked. So Dan Fagan hit Mark Cuban and did the numbers. And it would have like destroyed the league for at least 10 years.
What, if the trade would have happened?
So if you went, Dwight went, you guys had about $24 to $30 million left in cap space. So at that time, you're talking about the starting price about 12, 13 million on the max contract. Mm-hmm. So you got 3 max players right there you can go get 2 more max players. So LeBron, Like, LeBron, come on.
They weren't coming.
Melo, come on. And then what happened was, after you got them, so it would have been you, Dwight, let's just say LeBron and Bosh, right?
It wouldn't.
I'm just saying, like, no. When Kobe's contract came off.
Oh.
So Kobe's contract would have came off, and then you would have had $30 million where you could have got 2 more max players. So there was like the Lakers would end up with the USA team. And that.
See, I'm visual. I'm gonna have to see that one day. Because the only thing I'm thinking about too is that when Kobe's contract would have been up, because mine was coming up, and the reason I actually got upset when it initially happened too was because when they nixed the trade, they told me on the phone, they said, go to practice and be ready to spend the rest of the year in New Orleans, right? And I was more upset about my bird rights because if I left New Orleans during the summer, I wouldn't be able to sign a 4-year deal. It would have just been a 3-year deal. So it was like a $20 million
difference.
Yeah, hit for me when they nixed the trade. And it was a lot of stuff going on in New Orleans right there, whereas a lot of people don't realize they was talking about moving the team. Like then they had told me and D West that they was gonna move the team to Kansas City. They said they was gonna move the team at one point like to San Diego, all this different type of stuff. So the team was just up in limbo. So it wasn't never like, I wanna get out of New Orleans. It was like this team don't know what they doing, you know, and
it was just too much. It was too much money. It was too much money left after you guys got together. So think about it. If you got you, Dwight, and Kobe on the same team, and y'all still have enough money, like we're not talking about money where you can go get like JaVale McGee. Like you're talking about you can get Kevin Durant and Melo. Like that's the money you had left over after the hidden deal with Bynum and what's the name. That's how much money you still had left over. So even if one person got off of his contract, you gotta remember at that time, Kobe was on 30, what is it, 30? He was at the 30 mark already?
What, maybe 30 million?
I think he was at 30 million.
I don't know.
Like 30, 20, no, 20, he was at 24. He was about 24 million.
That's 10 years ago. That's that's crazy.
Yeah, so he was at 24 million. So if he came off his contract, he's at 24. So if they would have been like, yeah, Kobe, we're going to let you go, you still had 24 million. That's still 2 more max players. Now that's what I'm saying. You got, like, low key, you would have the USA starting 5 on one team. And all of it works. One player leaves, you can still add 2. So they rounded up and said 10 years this team would have been, they would have had this team for 10 years. It's unfair, and that's what Mark Cuban called them, and they just veto. Like that was the real main reason all those coaches got that call, because y'all had too much money left over, and it was like this is just too unfair.
Yeah,
it's just too unfair. I was like, damn, I might want to go there. Hey, go ahead and try to win one champ.
A lot of it too was. That was the CBA negotiation summer. You know what I mean? So I was on the executive committee then, and people don't know, we were sitting in 16-hour meetings.
Yep. Right?
Like we was at the hotel in New York, the Waldorf. It was a 16-hour meeting, right? Just going back and forth. I remember we would be over in this room, us, and still Billy at the time. Yeah, Billy Hunter. And all of us would be over here, and all the owners and whatnot be in this room. And then it'd be like a mediator and be like, all right, let's go to the big room. We all go in this room, and it'd be all this posture and people saying, we want this, we want that. And then David Stern used to undo his tie. He used to get mad and start talking reckless in there, man. And all that experience right there, even at a young age, is what I think helped me. And when I did become the president of the union, of knowing how to, deal with and communicate with the different governors and figure out, what we needed as players.
You know what I like, the misconception of a lockout. Because the way it spreads to the fans that these players make too much money.
Right.
We need to lock them out and make too much money, when the truth is, the owners the owners don't all get along because some just make way more than others.
Right.
So what happens is when they trying to talk about revenue share and this and this, and they're like, my team's in LA. I don't know what your team's doing in Memphis. I don't want to. Why am I going to share my Laker money with you? Get it from the players, right? And that's how lockouts start. It doesn't start because of the players are making too much money because, the New York don't care about how much they pay. Mark Cuban don't care how much he paid.
The game is thriving and the players are, there ain't no league without the players.
So it's usually the team that's arguing or complaining the most is because he can't keep his star because someone's offering more. So what happens is when they're trying to revenue share so we can all get a piece of this pie, and everybody's like, yo, that's a bad business over there. It's not my fault. And they're like, well, get it from the players. So you're in a meeting, the richest owners are just sitting there like this. Oh, man, how much time we got left? And, and people don't understand. It's usually they don't get along and they can't come up to an agreement with themselves. So then they look at the players like, hey, we need 2 years. Like, wait.
The players are always doing a hell of a job too. I don't think people talk enough about that. It's players that sacrifice all the time. You know what I mean? All the time. But people always just sort of talk about when a guy's being overpaid or this what.
Oh, I was one of them.
What?
Like when overpaid, he ain't played, and I would say, hey, hold on, listen. The relationship I had with my owner, that's.
What was your last deal, Gil?
111.
How many years?
It was 6 years, 111.
Sheesh.
I played like 15 games, something like that.
15 out of the...
I played less than 50.
50 out of the whole 6 years of the deal?
Because I was hurt. I was hurt when I got the deal. See, this is a very important thing for just all young players.
Yep.
You have coach, general manager, owner, check writer. Just skip these two motherfuckers and go to just like we're so scared to talk to the guy who writes the check. So like when I first got to Washington, like he told me, he said, just get me out of this Jordan, this Jordan thing, this Jordan disaster, and I'm indebted to you, right? Just like because right then he was getting killed, right, by the media, and free agents was told not to go there. Me. So we don't supposed to come here? Well, here I come then. Here I come then. So every day I go up to, hey, Mr. P, hey, how you doing today? What's up? Like, how's the wife? How's the kids? What are you about to do? I'm about to go jog. Oh, I'll come jog with you. So I had a relationship with him, not Eddie, not Ernie, him. Every day we'd go, what's up in the summer? Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I just finished shooting. He'd be like, hey, do you need anything? And I'd be like, some of our staff is a little older, in their 60s and the 70s, and you still got the metal seats, hurt their butt.
Right.
Can we get some cushions?
Right.
Got it. New cushions for everybody, right? The bathrooms is a little like we need to, so I'm, sitting here like his eyes and ears, like, helping them, what's the name? So I remember when I got hurt, I had 3 surgeries in 14 months.
On the knee.
Yeah, 3 surgeries in 14 months. So the doctors are already saying, you're not going to be the same player. You're going to have to learn how to play on the ground, right? Mm-hmm. So when
real quick, not to cut you off, but it's so crazy. I have a burnt image in my head of us in the practice gym at the Wizards facility, right? Mm-hmm. I never forget it. I still talk to people about it to this day. And I remember your knee. It's your left knee, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. And it wouldn't go straight.
Yep.
Like when I say
still
wouldn't go straight, but like, cause I done had surgery on my left knee before, and like a lot of times, somebody tell you to straighten your leg out, but if Gil sit down and his left leg over there, it's gonna be up off the ground like this, and I never forget it, cause like all that stuff has always stuck with me, and it teaches you like rehab. Like if it's one thing that I always say that I could change one thing in my career, right? It ain't winning the finals when we should have or whatnot. It's just not. If it's one thing, it's I would have took my rehab a lot more serious when I had surgery back in 2009, 2010, because I still have to stay on it every day now because of that.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I mean?
same with me. That's the one thing, like, not the gun, this right here solves all problems.
To the point where like when I see guys get injured sometimes in the league that I know, like I call them. Like we played against DeJounte Murray, who I knew because of Jamal Crawford. He got hurt against us in preseason when I played in Houston. And I remember calling him, I think it was when I was in Houston. It was Houston or it was recently, like a couple years ago. And I called him and I was like, look, man, like everybody gonna tweet about you, right? Tonight, tomorrow, prayers up to my brother, you know what I'm saying? That's what everybody do.
Yeah.
Get well, all this stuff like that. But then a week go by, ain't nobody hitting you. You know what I mean? So I told him, I was like, look, man, like rehab is harder than playing. Like make sure you attack it every day. And 3 weeks from now, because everybody forget about you when you hurt. You know what I mean? So that's the biggest thing I tell anybody, like rehab. Like that's hard.
That's what I said. Like rehab, like I was so focused on trying to just get my place back so I wouldn't lose it. So I just wanted to play. So like when we were negotiating, my negotiation matched my injury. They offered me, the general manager offered me $80 million for 5 years, right? $80 million for 5 years. And I'm sitting here like, I'm a 3-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA player, and you offer me $80 million for 5 years? I said, Golden State offered me 101 for 5 years, right? So I'm in the airport next day, going because I got my China tour, and phone rings and it's Mr. Poland. Like, he ain't calling unless that shit's serious. So like I'm already prepping myself, like be strong. Like I ain't taking the 80, right? Like be strong. So I was like, hey, how you doing, Mr. P? He was like, it's yours. The max is yours. I said, huh? Don't worry about what they did last night. I just found out the max is yours. You did everything that you said you were gonna do. You did. I don't care what they said. Your knee might not be the same. You might not be the same player. That has nothing to do with me. You're my guy. The max is whatever the max is, 120, 127, whatever it is yours, you do with what you want.
Damn.
If you want to give some to your teammate, do it. If you don't, that's you. It's yours. Damn. Have a nice trip. See you when you get back. Click. I looked at him and said, oh, the max. It's like, what? I was like, yeah, he offered it.
Send the papers.
Yeah, so basically I'm sitting there, I'm in China on a tour, like, dang, like, all right, Antoine, how much Antoine need? I need Deshaun, you know. So I'm trying to figure out, and then I was like, so my max was 127. So I was like, you know what? I like Penny Hardaway, so I'm gonna go just 111, just penny, right? And that's where it came up with 111.
That's
penny, and then send 16 back so we can keep improving the team. But the max, I don't care about your knee. I don't care if you don't play no more. It ain't got nothing to do with me. You got me out of the Jordan situation, and
I'm good.
Here's my payback.
That's tough.
All right, well, Chris, we really appreciate you for coming through and stopping by, man. This was super enlightening, and want to wish you best of luck in your 17th season. Hope to see you back in the, I don't know if the final, I'm a LeBron guy, but hope you have a great season.
I know.
But I know, man.